Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cyber Weekly. The Cyber Weekly is a podcast which talks about cybersecurity with me, Deogratius Okello, your host, and Josephine, Olok, my co-host. This week we have Charles. Charles will be our guest for this week. You know that those are the things you say when you're losing the word which you are supposed to say.
Should be reading, saying Charles Ofwono, what. Who is a profile?
I'll put it towards the end. So I'm supposed to give Charles's profile. If you hear my voice is sounding funny, just know it's because of the flu. But anyways, yeah, I think let me put slides. So Charles is his full name is Charles Ofwono. He currently holds a position of head of information and technology at Uganda National Oil Company Limited. His education began at Uganda Christian University, meaning his major education, bachelor's degree. Definitely there are other papers, but yeah, he starts with the bachelor's degree in information technology, where he got a first class. Then he also studied at Staffordshire University, where he got his master's degree in cybersecurity. Then, yeah, he has certifications, one of them being CISM Prince 2 CompTIA Network Plus, NEBOSH International Technical Certification in Oil and Gas Operation Safety, ISO 22301 Senior Lead Implementer, and ISO 2701 Senior Lead Implementer. So when it comes to his work, he began with Equity Bank, where he worked for 2 years. He started as an information security officer. Then he ended up joining to become an IT systems and security administrator. And overall, he worked there for 2 years. Then for Tullow Oil, he worked for almost a decade there, where he started as a field IS advisor and cybersecurity specialist. Then he ended up also being an information systems fields coordinator and cybersecurity specialist. Then he branched into UNOC, where he's currently at as the head of information and technology. Yeah, but he began as an infrastructure lead. So that is him in a nutshell. But so yes, Charles will tell us a little bit about himself. Then, yes, Josephine, do you have anything to say?
Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Dale. Good morning. Good morning, Charles. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Today we are really honored and privileged to have Charles Ofwono, who is head of IT at UNOC. So Charles, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, Dale. It's a pleasure.
Yes. So, without further ado, Charles, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. So Charles Ofwono is the name. I currently head the ICT for UNOC. UNOC is a Uganda National Oil Company in full. We have 2 subsidiaries, the National Pipeline Company and the Uganda Refinery Holdings Company. So UNOC's mandate is we operate across the petroleum value chain, that is midstream, upstream, and downstream. And then we represent the government's interest in the petroleum sector. So the commercial interest of government is fully our mandate in this sector. Just a little bit of the petroleum value chain. Downstream is basically where you look for the oil through seismic and then drilling operations to know how much oil you have. Midstream is after you've gotten the oil, how do you refine it, how do you transport it, how do you store it? And then downstream is, in a layman's language, the petrol stations that you see and the entire supply network of the petrol stations. Yeah. I don't know if that is enough.
Yes. Yes, that's one way of putting it. So now there is this aspect of how you got into IT and cybersecurity. Could you tell us a little bit about that, so that people can get to know how you reached such a position?
Yes, so the IT is what I studied for my undergraduate, and it was a rich course back then. It had several components, and among them was information security back then, how they used to call it. And I always was passionate about security. I think I scored the highest in information security course units, all of them. And so when I transitioned from university to my first job, which was in Vision Group, and then crossed into banking, where I had the honor to work directly under Josephine. So I held different portfolios in Equity Bank, and then the actual opportunity that I got then was when I crossed from information systems division of ICT into infrastructure as a systems admin. And among the responsibilities was the security component of the infrastructure for the bank. And that is how I started practicing security. And then later on, when I left banking and crossed into the oil and gas industry, which again, I had the honor to work directly under Josephine as my boss, I then got a full exposure into security through the Talos Group Information Security Department. And I had a direct line and then 2 different tenures as a secondee and the group security department, and that is how I got full exposure into security. And from then on, I then went on to do courses directly tailored to security. I remember my first course in security was CISA, which is a certified information systems auditor, where 40% is the pure security and protection of information assets. And to me, that was foundational. And then later on, I went on to do CISSP, which is Certified Information System Security Professional. Now, in the current grading, CISSP is considered the epitome of security certifications. It's the expert level with, I think, failure rate currently standing at 80%. So if you achieve that, then the industry recognizes you as an expert. Yeah, so that I achieved in 2013, and I have since been practicing and then doing a couple other certifications. Currently, I am ISO 27001 Senior Lead Implementer certified, and that ISO is for information security management. I am also certified information security manager, among others. Yeah, so that is my journey in security to date. In UNOC, we have several divisions, and among them is security. I was the first employee here. I set up the strategy for UNOC from scratch and up to what it is now with 5 divisions: security, infrastructure, support projects, and yeah, it's what it is now. So in a way, I've been doing security and infrastructure, but then also overseeing the other domains. Thanks.
Charles, that's an amazing journey. I think I have been privileged to work with you, and I know you've done really well, especially in the security realm. What I really want to understand is why security in particular. I know you said you did it as an option, but what is it that drew you to to security? Was there something, or was it the
Yes.
subject? Yeah.
Yes. Now, why security is that I think one of my values is I really hate injustice, and because security deals directly with trying to put out the bad guys, the cyber criminals, I felt that whereas I did not directly go into the security of holding guns, the security of computers would still give me an avenue of being able to, to defend networks and to be on the good side of things and then fight the bad guys in the cyberspace. So to me, that was the main driving force around security. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. So, beyond your security now, you're in oil and gas. Can you tell us what that looks like? What is it that you're protecting from? I know we have the standard security, but is there something specific to oil and gas that you can tell us?
Yes. Now, in the oil and gas, we have, first of all, there's nothing peculiar with the oil and gas. Looking at the banking experience and the other industries, there's nothing peculiar. I think IT is generally IT, irrespective of industry. Although in the oil and gas, you do look at the OT, which is operational technology. That is the only bit that would be different. But in terms of the security for oil and gas, you're looking at protecting the intellectual property of the oil and gas, which is currently here. And Uganda, you're looking at protecting the geological and geophysical data. You're looking at protecting the systems that process that data. You're looking at protecting the value of UNOC as an institution from the perspective of information, because information is power, information is value. And once your information gets compromised, or your ability to deliver upon your mandate basing on IT, as we all might agree that technology is currently probably the bloodstream that enables organizations to function. Now, in the oil and gas currently and in UNOC, we rely heavily on IT. That means its protection is significantly important. Otherwise, if they take us out, then we wouldn't be able to function and deliver upon our mandate. So everything, data, information assets, documents, and the operations of IT is what I look at protecting. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Now, when you look at the aspect of COVID and what happened, where people had to stay at home to work, how did IT impact, especially the oil sector and that whole transition from working inside the building and now working outside and up to now? How do you see the transition like?
Yes. So COVID was such a disruption generally across the globe. Now, the beauty with UNOC specifically in this part of the world is that by the time COVID hit UNOC, our IT department was, I think, 2.5 years old. But then the kind of strategy that I developed for UNOC back then when I just joined and started from scratch was one that had business continuity at the back of it all. And the kind of systems that I proposed and went on to implement were systems that would enable flexi working, remote working, and that flexibility in terms of, I didn't want, to define work as a place that you go, but rather the function that you do. And for me as IT, my role was to ensure that people are able to deliver those functions that they do from wherever they are in the most secure way possible. And so at the time of COVID striking and the lockdowns that happened, UNOC was probably among the very few companies in this part of the world that worked seamlessly. I remember in the very first week into the lockdown, we held an all staff meeting and everyone was in the comfort of their respective homes. And it was something very uncommon in this town. And I remember after that, my CEO got contacted by her peers, and they wanted to benchmark with us in terms of, how did we set up resilient systems that factored in that flexible working. And we've gone on to aid certain MDAs in terms of tweaking their IT strategy to be able to accommodate secure remote working. Thanks.
So well done. You brought Zoom and what to the government and agencies. So well done. Well done on that. Okay, so yeah, so you and I have both worked in banking and the oil and gas industry. I know the pressures I had in the banking industry were not the same as oil and gas. And what has been your experience and the transition? What have you found different? What is the same in your experience?
So the experiences are certainly different. Banking, you're looking at uptime, you're looking at the demands are different. But in terms of infrastructure, my assessment is that both industries rely heavily on very mature technologies. And if you transitioning from one to the other, the transition should be smooth because you're already used to operating at a certain level in terms of maturity of technologies. So my transition was smooth. I remember my first job in Charle was IT advisor in charge of the fields, and in my first 1 or 2 months, I felt I was being underutilized because I felt in the bank I had done a lot of IT in the different domains, because in equity I held 3 different portfolios. At first I was in information systems, that is the support for core banking system, which also looked at the databases, which is the back end of it, and then infrastructure as a systems admin. And then now here for Charle, I was more or less in charge of setting up new sites in form of well sites and supporting them. So I felt I was a bit bored, but then later on, as I kept expanding the portfolio in the oil and gas, I felt like I was getting more and more utilized in a way that I felt was befitting. Yeah, so for me it was a good transition, a smooth one and a good one. Thanks.
Okay. Now, when you transitioned and now you felt now you're being utilized, what were those security challenges you faced, and what were the practical ways you handled them?
So security overall is the challenges that we would face as UNOC is probably the same challenges that the banking would face, the manufacturing and aviation and all other industries. You're looking at one, the challenge of data breach. You're looking at the challenge of insider threat, where people have access and sometimes they either abuse the access or they, maliciously or accidentally. You're looking at the challenge of funding, where the budgets are not enough to implement the kind of security technologies that you'd want. You're looking at the challenge of awareness, where employees or staff or management or the board is not very aware about the security landscape and the threats that organizations face. You're looking at the issue of attitude, which is also a challenge, where some people in decision-making positions feel that, as an institution, you're not threatened. Those threats for different institutions. For us, we should be safe as here where we work. And then you're looking at the evolution of technology, which is a threat, because what worked so well 3 years ago may not work now. If you had a firewall, for example, 10 years ago we had intrusion detection systems which were working really well. And then the concept of IPS came in, intrusion protection system, prevention systems. Now you're looking at a combination of those. Yeah, that means if you got 10 years technology now, they would not be able to handle the threats that we face now. You're looking at ransomware. Ransomware was not a thing 15 years ago. Right now, it's probably one or two in the top two threats that every organization faces. Malware has evolved. The viruses that we had back then, I remember the famous one, which would create shortcuts, turn your folders and files into shortcuts. Right now, that is not there, but what has come now is something that actually exfiltrates your data without you knowing. Yeah. So there's now with the coming in of cloud, with the processing power that the cloud provides, the bad guys are using that to actually the advantage to exploit systems. Now they have the ability to do things 10 times faster than they used to do before then. Yeah, so there is several challenges that organizations face. Now, in terms of practical ways that we would address those challenges, for me, the heaviest one would be creating awareness. Yeah, that awareness is very, very, very important. If the board is aware that indeed cyber threats are facing the institutions, if management knows that there are cyber threats, if employees are aware of the cyber threats and how they could do one or two things about it, that would help you solve so many other challenges. For example, management would then be able to give you the budget to invest into the security technologies that you need. The board would be able to set the tone from the top. The policies would be prioritized, security policies. The plans, say business continuity, incident response plans would be able to be prioritized. The resources, human resource personnel, money would not be a problem if that awareness is there, that is indeed a threat. Now, on the people side, you're also looking at, you have to get the good people in place. Currently, there's a skills shortage in cybersecurity, and that shortage keeps increasing. And so your ability to go out and attract people that know what they're doing would likely define your being at risk and your being good to go in terms of protecting your systems. And then, of course, the budget, you've got to put in some money, you've got to invest in protective technologies to be able to fend some of the threats, like hacking and the ransomwares and so on. Then you've got to be prepared. You see, they say failing to prepare is preparing to fail. If you walked around Kampala, how many institutions have a sound business continuity plan? How many institutions have an incident management plan that is routinely tested for adequacy and effectiveness? How many institutions have the policies, acceptable use policies, the information security policies, password policies, and related guidelines in place? How many employees, if you walked into any bank or UNOC or any other company and picked an employee at random, would they be confident enough to tell you they know the policies that are in place and what their responsibility is? Probably not. Yeah. So now at the data level on the technology side, you probably need to start encrypting your data. You need to, in terms of authentication, you need to control access. You need to limit the level of access. You need to implement multi-factor authentication because passwords and passphrases have become weak. Yeah, so there's a lot that can be done. But again, like they say, it's you cannot say that you've now reached a level of security that you cannot be compromised. Actually, they say it's a matter of when and not if an organization would be compromised. Right now, we are all potential. candidates for a compromise. And that's why it's very important, again, that you have a sound incident response plan in the event that you get compromised. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that comprehensive answer. I noticed you didn't touch on AI, but I'm sure you're working to.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you can just mention quickly what are you doing about AI? I know technology is going to evolve, and security needs to evolve with it, as you've mentioned. What about AI that is already here?
So AI currently is hoping with automation. I will give you an example. Back then, security monitoring was manual, where you sit and watch big screens and then follow websites and then look at the logs, and you'd have tons of logs that you would not say you're doing it perfectly in your monitoring. Right now with AI, you're looking at SIM solutions, security information and event management system, which automates the whole thing using AI. You're looking at SOAR solutions, security orchestration, automation, and response, which automates the whole response part of security. You're looking at machine learning in email security, and one of the companies is Deogratius, which has that component of ML on email security. So AI is playing a significant role in as far as companies can secure themselves against the bad guys. But the other bad side of AI is that even the bad guys, the criminals, are also utilizing AI to try and automate the entire process of compromising institutions. And so it's a catch-22 where you can use it to do good, you can use it to do bad. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about mentorship and coaching and how it has helped you improve in your career.
Yeah, so mentorship and coaching are two very important concepts when you want to grow yourself. And you see, a mentor is someone who you're going to ride upon their experience, their skills to get you to where you want to get. A coach is someone who is coming to guide you on a day-to-day to help you perform at a level that you should perform, to basically realize your potential on a day-to-day. Now, I have been very lucky to be under the mentorship of some of the best brains. And for me, I owe everything to Josephine because I was under her for 10 years. And I don't think without her I would be where I am today. She mentored me, she coached me through from day one when I joined Equity Bank, through to Charle Oil, through to with a vast experience and her rich IT background, the international exposure that she has. I think I've been the biggest beneficiary of that mentorship from her. And it's a concept that, we borrow from metals as humans. They say iron sharpens iron, and we keep seeing when you want to sharpen a knife, you use a metal to do that. And so should a man ride upon shoulders of another? So I believe that if you're just starting up your career, or you're looking at growing to a level above where you are now, you need to get a good mentor who is able to impart their experience, their knowledge, who is able to give you the time that you need. And I think it's a continuous thing, because up to today, I still call Josephine like a child would call a parent. I think I have never been weaned off that breast milk. So, and I feel so lucky about that, having a very good mentor like Josephine, who has been there for me since 15 years ago and up to today. She never gets tired of my calls. Yeah, so if you want to go high, I think it's something, it's very important. You've got to identify one and pray that they would be as good as the one I have. Now, in terms of self-drive, you can have all the good mentors you have and all the good coaches you have, like we see in football clubs. You can have the talent, you can have the good mentor, you can have a good coach, and then you still fail to reach your potential if you do not have the self-drive. If you recall my story, whereas I had Josephine, and I also had the environment that had been created by her that would enable you to blossom if you're willing to. I also had to put in some effort in looking out for which courses I would need to do, and then looking for funding or seeking scholarship through her, and then availing myself for those courses, which, by the way, my experience in the CISA class, which I studied in the UK, more than half of the class failed. And then the following year, I was up for CISSP, and it was only after passing it that I realized more than 80% of the class had failed. So again, that is a self-drive and the determination that you need in order to succeed. Yeah, so it's upon yourself. The environment can be there. You can have the right people around you, but then if you do not have that self-drive and the discipline to take it to the next level, you probably will just stop somewhere and not get to your full potential. Thanks.
Charles, thank you for the very kind words. It's been an incredible journey and one I've been privileged to be a part of. I still remember you interviewing you on Equity Bank and thinking this guy is just not serious because he was laughing in the interview. So we've come a long way, and it's been great to see you grow and become, to where you have reached and grow in your career. And you have an incredible drive, self-development drive. I've seen how you've taken on courses, excelled in them, taken on roles, excelled in them. So it's been a real pleasure to see you developing that way. And I feel like I'm honored to be part of that journey. So thank you very much for the kind words. So we are in oil and gas. I think we have the stereotype of what IT looks like. I don't know if you want to add to what you've already said about oil and gas and IT. I think you did mention IT is the same everywhere.
Yeah.
But is there any stereotypes that you come across or in oil and gas? Is it something that people think is not really that important?
No.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the same. It's the same. There's nothing very special about the oil and gas. Whoever wants to join oil and gas just needs to have the self-drive, the discipline. They need to tick the boxes of what any other industry would want as their perfect fit. There's nothing peculiar about the oil and gas. Anyone can work in the oil and gas, provided they have the self-drive, they have the passion, they are disciplined. There's that famous song that they sing in churches that when he calls me, I'll answer. Now, I think we interpret that song in a very religious way, that where he refers to God or a greater power above. Now, my opinion, I think that he just stands for, the opportunities or a call to action. Yeah, there will be several opportunities that need you that call you to action. Now, if you say you will answer, yes, you'll answer. What does that mean? It means that one, you've got to be able to do what you're being called to do. If, for example, there's a job advert asking for those qualifications, do you have them? If the advert is asking for the ability to do A, B, C, D, can you actually do them? So I think it's just about being ready for the opportunities, being prepared, and then having the ability to deliver as per the requirement. Otherwise, there's no stereotype. There's nothing peculiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd share my experience a little. That there was, I guess this question comes about because when I first joined oil and gas, there was a perception that as an IT person, you needed to have worked in oil and gas to excel in IT and oil and gas. And I was actually, when I joined, I was a little bit concerned that I didn't have that experience. But then, of course, once I started doing the work, that just became stereotype that people imagine that there's a special requirement to be in the industry, perhaps because it's new in Uganda. But yeah, I think that's true. It's not. It's IT. IT is IT everywhere. Yeah. So thank you for that. For the answer. Dale?
Yes, I was enjoying the conversation. I didn't want it to end. So, when it comes to job opportunities, how are they like? Because since you are saying there's a shortage of IT people. So, as a person who has worked in the oil and gas, have they helped in the past few years? Are there improvements in terms of jobs available in the oil and gas sector, especially for IT?
Yes, there is so many job opportunities in the oil and gas, not just in IT. I think this industry accommodates almost everyone, from HR to accountants to engineers to electricians to mechanics to technicians, IT people, the lawyers. There's it's a wide spectrum of opportunities. But now, specifically in the IT, you would think that if you look at the different domains of IT infrastructure, you'd look at someone who is able to do your data center, who is able to support your network, who is able to support the applications, the security people, the project management office, the IT, the business process people, the applications developers, the software engineers. So it's a wide spectrum of opportunities that you can pick from. But now, more specifically, for the case of UNOC, you're looking at direct and indirect opportunities. I work with so many companies that are contractors for UNOC, that suppliers things for IT, and they also consult with us, and they also support some of those systems that we work with. So you can look at being directly employed by UNOC or Total, and by the way, we work with several other partners. We have Total Energies, we have CNOC, we have we are shareholders in ECOP, which is East African Crude Oil Pipeline. We have tier one contractors like McDermott, huge multinational. We have the likes of Motor Angel. So there's so many companies apart from just UNOC and URHC and NPC, and we also have our regulator, the Petroleum Authority, the Ministry of Energy. So all those companies you could look at. Now you can look at being employed directly as by having a job, but you can also look at supplying or contracting or subcontracting. If you look at some of the exciting projects that UNOC has, we have an industrial park called the Kabarega Industrial Park. It's one that is estimated to, by the time it gets commissioned, to have created up to, I think, 55,000 jobs, direct and indirectly. The refinery is coming up, and that one is expected to create between 35 to 55,000 jobs again, direct and indirect. And then there are other opportunities like the hospitality industry, like the catering industry, like the health and safety. There's so many things you can look at doing. And if you look at the portfolios, the ECOP has a budget of, the initial project estimate was $3.5 billion, which has now moved up a bit to something about $4 billion. The KIP we are looking at another $4 billion. The refinery, another $3 billion. So this is, and then the upstream, of course, which is over $5 billion. So all this you surely can look at as a Ugandan. You can look at tapping into it directly or indirectly. Yeah. So the opportunities are there, and I think it's just the morning hours of it. There's going to be a time when we are at the peak, when the refinery is either being set up or it's starting to operate, and when the pipeline is running, and when the upstream is at its peak, and then we have storage terminals. There's one that we are looking at setting up in Buloba, here in Kampala, with capacity of 300 million liters, which is 10 times bigger than what Uganda currently has in Jinja, of 30 million liters. We're looking at feeder pipelines, which are estimated to go up to 2,500 kilometers. Yeah, 2,500 meters of kilometers. Yeah. So we just need to position ourselves, and if you listen to most of the talk shows and if you follow UNOC, you will see that we try to be very deliberate in sensitizing the public about the opportunities that we have and those that we think are coming, and so the public just needs to position itself into taking advantage of the opportunities.
Yeah, thank you for that answer and for giving us a good idea of what the different industries, different companies that are involved in the oil and gas, and how people can participate, especially in IT, in oil and gas. So it's been a real pleasure to talk to you, Charles, and I know we could talk forever. I know you, and you're a great talker. So as we come to the end of this, is there anything that you want, any particular messages that you have for our audience, whether it's in security, cybersecurity, oil and gas, or any words of advice that you want to share with us?
Yes. Now, in terms of security and for my IT people, I think it's just a matter of time, and then we will take our rightful place in this country and in this region. I know if you go to Europe and North America, those economies are IT run. Yeah, but we are slowly by slowly getting the recognition that I think we deserve, because I think we do a lot in enabling businesses run. And as an IT professional, or if you're a student of IT, just know that you're in one of the best professions to be in. And I think the future is brighter than it looks. So let's just keep positioning ourselves, equipping ourselves, and making ourselves ready for those opportunities, and so that we can make a positive change in this economy of Uganda. And then with respect to oil and gas, again, I would like to implore my fellow Ugandans to just position, make themselves ready for the opportunities. You can follow us, follow UNOC on social media. You can always come around with or without appointment to UNOC's offices at Plot 15 Yusuf Road to seek information. You'll find a very happy team that will be pleased to give you all the information you need with respect to opportunities that you could take advantage of. And yeah, let's strive to make Uganda a better country. Thanks.
Thank you. So we look forward to the CIO roles, executive director IT, those kind of director IT, those being much more common. So yeah, yes. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you, Josephine.
Thank you, Charles. I think we'll end here, but please check out one of our conversations we had with Emily May Mara on episode 14. The link should be somewhere on the on the screen, but yeah, check it out. Yes, have a good day.